Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome on in, fellow explorers. How are you? I am late, I know, again, a couple of days late. I was away and I spent an amazing weekend in Prague, but of course I got the inevitable airport flu on the way back, so I've not been feeling too good since my return. And although I had this month's guest episode all lined up, I still hadn't quite recorded the introduction and the break and the outro bit. So I was planning on doing that when I got back, but of course I got hit with the flu. So today, it's Sunday, and I thought I'm feeling better, get back upstairs in that back bedroom and do some recording. And my word, have I got a great episode for you today. It's come just at the right time, actually. It's funny how these things work out. My last episode from a week or two ago now was sort of like an open thought to the universe about how my mediumship could be seasonal. And I had such a warm response to that episode. Thank you. If you were one of the wonderful people who replied to that episode and sent me a message letting me know that I was not alone and I am not alone, then I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, from me to you, thank you so very, very much. And I feel like, although this episode was recorded months ago, it really does go hand in hand with that last episode. Giselle Zavalza is someone I met a little while ago. She's been coming to my Wednesday and Sunday Explorers. Anyone who comes to that will know who Giselle is. And I just had this sort of calling to ask her to see if she wanted to share her story. So I messaged her pretty much out of the blue, and she responded, absolutely yes, I'd love to share my story. And what I love is that whenever we delve into someone else's story, a different theme comes through. When we spoke to Melly Guidance, we spoke about her journey, but her emphasis and her interest in the Akashic Records came through. When we spoke to Anthony Lights about his journey, that theme was about sexuality versus religion and upbringing. In today's episode, we talked to Giselle about her awakening, how she stepped into her power, which I'm so grateful she did. But moreover, what Giselle's episode talks about, in my opinion, is about development, the importance of development. If you are someone who is just starting on their journey, this is a great episode for you to get a reality check on that this is not going to be something which happens overnight. This journey you are stepping onto is a slow burn. Sometimes the match might die out entirely. Sometimes it might flare up and you're not too sure what to do with it. Likewise, if you have been on your journey for a while, if you have been developing for a while, it highlights the importance of developing. There does seem to be this tendency of people who are discovering their ability, putting themselves out there on various social media stuff and saying, I can do it, I am this, I am that. Come to me with your concerns, with your issues. Because I can tap into something, I am straight away qualified to give you all the advice and give you all the answers that you may need. And what Giselle's episode really focuses on is just how important development is. Not only development of your abilities, of how to hone your craft, but your personal development. You as a person, you as a human. How have you got past the barriers that might stop you from developing your spirituality more? It's such an integral part of being able to call yourself a medium, being able to call yourself a healer. You know me, I strongly believe we all have these gifts within us, gifts in inverse commas, because we all have them, these abilities. But how well do you develop? How often do you look inside yourself to question your judgments, to question your fears, to question your objectivity? For me, that is what someone who calls themselves a medium is. That's what someone who calls themselves a psychic is. It's someone who has done the work. It is someone who is doing the work, because doing the work never finishes. You're always doing it. So, before I get on a tangent and start lecturing you all, I'm not going to do that, don't worry. I'm going to hand you over to the marvellous Giselle Zavalza. Enjoy, and I will be back with you soon. Giselle Zavalza, welcome to Psychic Explorer, my good friend. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Yeah, it's been a good day today. It's been a nice day, and I'm so glad to see you today. I'm so glad that you are happy to come on and share your experience because I was wondering if I don't know, when I go to my face-to-face circle, I sort of rinsed all my face-to-face circle people as to be guests on episodes, and I feel like I found a lovely little group online of my American circle people. And I'm very conscious. I don't want to sort of rinse everyone's stories, but I'm also conscious that you've all got your own journeys. And I think you said to me, I hope I'm not making this up. I hope I'm not faking this memory that you said you were happy to share your journey and to share your experience. So I'm so glad and grateful that you're here.
Yes. I started my journey, it was probably like maybe 6 years ago.
Okay.
But honestly, it was, things started happening after my person passed, which was my mother. And that was about 7 years ago. It'll be 7 years in July. You know, you start getting little things here and there, and you just kind of go, what is that?
I know that feeling very well. Yeah.
There is a moment where I do like to share where I was at my mom's rosary. I've shared this before where we were all sitting there and my mom was Catholic. Well, I was raised Catholic and we're all sitting there and I just saw this beautiful golden light come out through the window. You know, it was the evening. I'm thinking sunset. And I turn and look at my husband and I'm like, do you see that? Do you feel? He's like, no. And then I turn and look at my sister, do you feel that? Do you see that? And she's like, no. And I was like, it just felt this beautiful golden light. And I felt the warmth and the love. And I felt like it was my mother giving me a hug. It was so bright, Matt. I thought I was losing it. And I remember that. And it sometimes pops in. And at the time I was like, that was weird. You know, you're questioning it. And I still question it. Was it my mom? Was it some other spirit? But I remember that as clear as day, you know, and then, you know, you think, are they taking me? You know, that one beautiful warm light. I'm like, oh my God, is this what it feels like to die?
Oh my God.
Because it was so magical. It was that love, that warmth. I can't explain it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so beautiful. May I take you back a little bit further before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all? Let's go back a little bit further. Before all this opened up to you, who was Giselle? What was Giselle's thoughts on these matters, let's say?
Right. Well, listen, I loved mediumship. I thought it was so fascinating because when I would watch Teresa Caputo, like that was the one I would watch. And I was just like, what a beautiful gift. Again, this is before all of this. What a beautiful gift to help people heal and to be able to communicate with loved ones. And, you know, and seeing her go to like the stores and stuff. I mean, of course, we all know now, but what a beautiful gift. And I was very open to all of this. I loved astrology. People that you asked, like, did Giselle love astrology? Yes, I loved astrology. But I only knew pieces of it, right? Our sun sign. I didn't realize there were so many more aspects to astrology. So I was open. I just didn't think it was for me, maybe. I mean, there was parts of like intuition that would come up and it wasn't as strong as it is now, for sure.
You said you didn't think it was for you. I'd love to just scratch that a little bit deeper if I can, because I feel the same. I think that there's almost like a feeling of not gatekeeping, but if you're not seeing ghosts at the end of your bed your whole life, then this is not for you. This is something that no one else can tap into. There needs to be some sort of dramatic beginning. And I guess there is, and I'm sure we will go on to that, like similar to my journey. There was a dramatic crescendo, pretty dramatic, that opened it all up. But I really want to sort of dig a little bit deeper down. When you said it wasn't for you, what do you mean by that?
What I felt like you were born with this. You know, as a child, you were supposed to be this sensitive, and we are born with it, right? Now going into it, our spirit, we're all, are in tune, but I didn't think it was for me at the time, right? I was a mom. Before my mom passed, I had just had my daughter. So I was working, doing all sorts of stuff. And that's what keeps our mind busy for us to not be open to this wonderful world of spirituality. That's how I felt at the time. I just felt you had to be born with it. It was, you were the chosen one. You were the special one. And now I know it's not true, so I'm happy that I landed in this journey. I mean, I'm in this journey because of my mother. And of course, I would take all of it back to have my mom back.
Yeah.
I've said this millions of times to my sisters. I wouldn't be here if my mom had not passed. And that is one hard pill to swallow. One hard pill to swallow. But it has been such a great journey doing this. It's been rewarding. It's been hard. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It's not an easy journey, but it also reflects on you and how you've been and what you need to work on. And it's been very interesting the last 4 years in the development of mediumship, for sure.
I said to you before we started this conversation that I know almost nothing about you, Giselle. We have read for one another several times in online circles, and that's been really lovely to do, a lovely experience. But other than that, I know very, very little about you. One thing I do know is that you were raised Catholic.
Correct.
So I wonder how your family felt. You were very much into this mediumship stuff. You were very much into astrology. How were your peers? What were their thoughts on it?
I haven't had any, what are you doing? What's going on? It's funny because when my mom passed, she would always talk about archangels, right? And she's very into archangels, and she would have vivid dreams. When she passed, I'm like, I thought the archangels were Catholic. Like, I thought, that's what I assumed, not knowing that they're angelic spiritual beings. And I'm like, what? So I know my mom had something. She took us to psychics. This lady would read our aura. So I know they weren't as strict Catholic.
So that whole world, it was open to you from quite a young age then?
It was very open, for sure.
Okay.
My mom liked watching Teresa Caputo. She was very into it as well. My dad is as well. Everybody's pretty open. And if they're not, that's their problem, not mine.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm like, I just don't care. You hit a certain age. When you lose somebody you love, you're like, I don't care what you think of me. And I used to. And now I don't. I really don't.
So what happened 7 years ago? You said you lost your mum. And I think that was the catalyst for you, wasn't it?
Correct. Yeah. It happened so fast. I had a baby in February and my mom passed in July. And it was one moment from another. She was experiencing some uncomfortness, went to the ER. That was like the ending of May. June, they diagnosed her with adenocarcinoma. I'm probably not saying that correctly, of the liver. And it was from June to July. It was so fast. Like, I couldn't even comprehend what was happening.
Yeah.
I was not sleeping, having my second baby. And I was driving in neutral. I tell people this all the time. I was trying to survive being a mom, and I was trying to survive being strong for my sisters because I was the oldest. Yeah, it was just boom, 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 boom. And then I want to say 2 years later is when it really hit me, like, she's gone. It was like, whoa. Because like I said, just driving in neutral, just making sure everything's okay. I'm okay. And my mom is such a strong soul. I remember sitting in bed with I don't know how long she had been gone for. And I just felt her embrace behind me. And I just remember dropping the phone and going, oh my gosh, Mom, is that you? I knew it. I just knew it. There's just so many things that have come forward with her, even with other people. Like I said, when I wasn't open to all of this, we had a friend that came up to us and was like, your mom visited me. We were like, what? So she's just a strong, strong soul. And I believe it happened so fast. She was trying to message us in some way, or I wasn't able to communicate with her towards the end of life. So I couldn't ask any questions or do anything. It was hard. It was definitely a hard thing to go through. And of course, when you go through something like this, you think you're the only one that has lost a mom. You are thinking, I'm the only one that's lost a mom at this way, this matter. And it's not true. You're not the only one. But when you're grieving, woe is me, why did it happen to me? It was a lot. Still is in moments, but
I was going to not compare, but I was going to talk about my experience of losing my mum and how different yours was to mine. But it was both quick, but there's no point because everyone's experience is their own experience. And what I was going to say further to that was that she didn't just go overnight. You still had to prepare stuff. You had a child on the way. And then from what you're saying as well, the lack of communication with her, you weren't able to communicate with her at the end.
Yeah.
All this emotion that comes and builds and comes in this huge crescendo of grief. It's debilitating, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then not sleeping, and my mind didn't shut off, and I'm like, I have to sleep because I have a baby. And yeah, it was rough. And then COVID hits. And so you're really in the midst of it, and you're really having to stay home. COVID also showed me TikTok, and that's why I'm here. TikTok was my gateway to finding all the things that were going on. And like I said, I'm grateful for COVID, but at the same time, it was trying to shut off my mind of the grief. So like I said, it didn't hit me until 2 years later when I really had to face it. I wasn't facing it. I really had to face it.
Yeah, the world stopped and you had to.
Yeah.
You said earlier on about your mum hugging you, and you're on the phone and just dropped the phone and you were like, Mum, is that you? Can you tell me a bit more about experiences like that and how did they feel to you? Right.
So it's happened before. My grandfather did that to me when I was younger. He passed when I was about 17, and I felt that embrace as well. And so you start questioning it. And I was like, I think that was my grandfather, right? And it's the knowing. So when it happened with my mom, I knew right away. I was like, oh, that's my mom, which is so hard. Like, how did I know that, right? And I just feel like it was my knowing. That knowing is strong, and I need to trust it. And that's what I've been doing now with my mediumship, is trusting my knowing. Like, where did I get this information? And okay, I'm going to relay it. Okay, it's accurate. Good. I need to trust that. It was a knowing, and I can't explain it. Yeah. I felt like she was from behind and embraced me the same way my grandfather did. And I feel like my grandfather was like one of my guides, and I feel like he's also helped me in this journey as well. He was the first actual spirit I saw with my own eyes when I was younger. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I saw my grandfather. He was standing right there and he was wearing XYZ. I was probably a teenager, or a little bit more of a, because he passed when I was 17. I was maybe 18, somewhere around there. And my mom was like, oh, great. Oh, okay.
So when I asked you, Giselle, if you had any sort of experiences and if any sort of things like that, and you were like, actually you had. I
had a little bit, yeah. You start.
Wow.
So when things start happening, you start going, wait a second, I remember this. I remember there was a moment where I was doing something. I was driving. I was with somebody at the time, and I was like, where is, I was so upset and blah, blah, blah. And I, clear as day, heard something in my ear, do this. And I did it. And sure enough, they were basically probably trying to get me to run away from that person. And they were like, we're right here in your ear now.
Get out, get out.
Yeah. You want to know? We're going to show you. But yeah, I mean, there's been some crazy little, now you start realizing little things beforehand. But it was when I was diving into it where I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. Everything is real. What they talk about. Yeah, it's been interesting.
That realization.
Yeah.
So your mum has passed. You have felt her around you. You felt her embrace you. the processing of that grief didn't really kick in until 2 years later, coinciding with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What then? You said about TikTok. What does your journey look like then?
Yeah. So, I found my first mentor on TikTok because I was like, what is going on? I had a card reading from her. I don't know if this was her way of wheeling me in, but she was like, there's something here that you need to work on. And there's like, they call it gifts. It's like, no, it's not. It's not a gift. We all have this ability.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working with her, doing some 5 classes, working with oracle cards, tarot cards. And one of them was mediumship. And I was like, excuse me, what? You want me to do what? And she goes, yeah, I'm going to have you bring my grandmother up. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I asked her, I'm like, does any of your other students do this? And they worked with me clairvoyantly. If you were to hear that reading, I just kept saying, I don't know. She's showing me this. I don't know. And I just kept saying that because I was not trusting anything I was getting, right? I was just spitting out what I was getting. And I was like, holy crap, I just did that. And I feel like spirit now, they do that so they know they can be like, look at, you did it, right? They don't tell you the journey of the ups and downs you're going to go through for the next, 3.5, 4 years. But they were like, boop, look what you can do. And that's pretty much how it started. And I told her, I want to do mediumship again. And so we did, she walked me through it. It just, boom, from there. I was like, I want to learn mediumship. And that's when I found my next mentors, Megan and Michael, and there you have the Oak Bridge. And I went through all of their classes, and then I found Dana, and it's been so great to do all of this. And again, now 3.5 years later, I'm like, wow, that was a roller coaster ride. They don't tell you any of that. They just give you boop, and then you're like, nope, now you got to work for it. So
I feel like the information is out there. If you want to delve into this, you will hear people say the journey is rough, but
right.
Because we only see what we want to see as people who are wanting to delve into this and trying to train ourselves and learn this skill and refine this skill, it's very easy to just see the polished, finished product and say, oh, that's what it's like. Mm-hmm. Without realizing all the crap that goes before it.
Oh, right. Sitting in the power. It took me 7 months just to sit still for 30 minutes. And now it's a part of my life. Like, I know I need to sit for 30 minutes, but this is 3.5 years of sitting. That is hard itself. But yeah, going through that journey, especially my second year in expansions, that was the toughest one. I was facing my grief. I was getting out of my comfort zone. I can't control anything that's happening. Who's coming at me? What's going on? You can, but do you know what I mean? Like when you are, in the midst of it, you're like, okay, now read. And you're like, but what, huh? Making every excuse possible of why you couldn't connect. And, there's like all these journeys. Yeah. It's a lot. And when you see a lot of these mediums out there going, oh, let me go out there. And I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Don't practice out in the public. Practice in a practice circle where if you goof up, someone is going to be like, it's okay. We're just here. I'm learning that now that there's so much more unfoldment. When I finished the advancing class, I was like, oh, I can read for the public. I've been doing it for the last 5 months. My mentors were like, you're just getting started. I'm like, what? And sure enough, I've been reading for the public under their umbrella, right? Where they know I'm still developing. And there's been so much more unfoldment since January to now. Mm-hmm. It's like mind blowing. Keep working at it. Keep doing it. It's hard, but if this is what you want, you got to work for it. It's not going to just fall on your lap and be like, oh, well, look at this.
You got to plug away little bit by little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about the self-saboteur? Because I have this. I have the little devil on my shoulder telling me, yeah, but this might be your brain or this might be your grief. Did that ever occur to you?
Well, of course, again, my second year when we do this thing where it's a mentorship, where there's other people reading, you compare yourself. Instant comparison. Our mentors tell us do not compare, because you don't know where they're at and then where you're at, because they might be doing some tweaks on you and they already did the tweaks on them. So yes, comparison, the control. So that's what I learned. I didn't realize how much, I knew I was a control freak. When I'm doing someone's hair, I'm like, I can control the color. And sometimes you can't. And with this, I couldn't control what was happening. It was hard. Yeah. And going, God, that was awful. I'm at the point now where it is what it is. I've learned all the tools to get to where I'm at now, to be able to read for the public under the umbrella. And I just have to let things unfold. If I get it wrong, it's fine. They gave it to me differently. It's learning how to go through that. You have to go through that. I don't think I've ever heard a professional one, saying they've never gotten anything wrong or they're always on. We were taught that we're not robots, and it's so true. And also our ego, it will change your ego. There's just so much unfolding. It's crazy. It's crazy because we just think, oh, we're just going to take a class and we're mediums. It's like, no.
Long haul. It's for the long haul, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
How did discovering your ability, this skill of tapping into the other side, how did that help you with your grief, Giselle?
That's a really good question. Since I was so intrigued with mediumship anyway, I already knew that they are here, they're around us, and they know what we're going through. But I feel like going through this, it's like, wow, it really, you watch it on TV and you're just like, it's not happening to you. So you're just like watching it. When I was developing and being in it, I was like, yeah, they are around us. They are with us. And another thing is just just knowing that I'm not alone. That was another thing because, again, I thought I was the only one that lost their mother, right? You're the only one that's ever lost their mom at this time in your life. And I remember doing a reading on a girl on a woman, and her story was exactly like mine. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm giving this woman a reading. She looked about my age. She had just had a baby. Her mom instantly got sick. And at the end of that reading, I had to walk out of the room and take a few deep breaths. And I cried a little bit, right? Because I'm like, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So that is what really it made me understand grief too. Just kind of going, I'm not the only one. Everybody has a story, but man, when that was, and I was like, that was spirit, just kind of like, you're not the only one. This happens to many people in many different ways, but she happened to have the same. It was just like, wow. It was breathtaking to be like, okay, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one going through grief, and I'm never going to be. That's how you feel. Right? I feel that's how people feel when they're in their grief. So yeah, it opened my eyes in a lot of different ways. And that was one of them.
What I love about that is that not only was hopefully the sitter getting something from that, getting confirmation from their loved one, but you're also getting that healing, and it works both ways. Oh,
yes. Oh, yeah. And I've had spirit say something and I'm like, was this for me or is this for my sitter? And when I say it is for the sitter. But I felt like spirit was helping me. He was trying to show me in a different way. And like sometimes a song will pop, that's very rare, but a song will pop in and I'm like, is that for me? Of course it's not for me, but you relay what you're hearing, seeing, feeling, whatever. But then I question, I'm like, oh, that really helped me out. Mm. And that's a cool thing too, right? To experience. But yeah, and grief is like, it's very interesting. Everybody has their way of interpreting it, and that's it. You know what I mean? We can't tell somebody how to grieve. There's nothing you can say or do in someone's grief. And I've learned that as well. When somebody has somebody that's passed in their life, I always say there is nothing I can say or do to take away this pain, but I just want to let you know I'm here. I'm here if you want to talk about it and let out whatever you need to let out. If you're angry, that's okay. I was angry too. Just being here for people to let them know that there's all sorts of ways people grieve, and there's no wrong or right way to do it. And just being there for somebody that's definitely what I've learned from all of this, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah. Did you ever feel like you wanted to step away from your mediumship?
Not right now. I'm one of those people that are like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do all, you know what I mean? So not right now. I am going to take a break in the summer. The school does take a break. So I'm excited for that. Yes. I'll still sit in the power and I'll still do some practice here and there, but not right now. No. I'm like doing this. I'm like trucking, like, yeah, I'm getting there. Because it's like all this hard work, right? When you first start, you're just like, I have to do all of this. And then once I'm here, I'm like, oh, there's still more I have to do. There's a lot more I have to do. I want to honor the spirit world and making sure that I'm the instrument that, you know what I mean? If someone's coming to pay me, I want to make sure. And of course, we're always going to develop, right? But I'm honoring the spirit world by taking my time and making sure that they're doing what they need to do to me to get me there. And I know they're going to tell me when. I mean, I'll ask my mentors, but you know, like,
of course, yeah.
But I feel even if my mentor says, oh, you're ready to go out there, I'd be like, no, I'm not. Or if it was the opposite, like, nah, you know, I don't think so. And I'm like, but I do. But I know I'm not ready, so I'm not asking. I know that there's so much more that I want to unfold.
I love talking about this with other people because as you're talking, Giselle, it's just confirming so much in me that, oh, I'm not alone. Oh, I think someone else thinks exactly the same as me. Then that's so nice because we can go on this journey. We can toodle along down our own little path. And it's very easy to get caught up in the, oh, God, but what if? And shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all in exactly the same situation. We're all in the same boat, just in different stages on the journey.
Correct. Yes. And I've been fortunate enough to do it fully. You know what I mean? There is people that do take a pause because financially something happened in the family or whatever, but I'm just going to keep going at it. And if this is what I'm meant to do, I feel like they are going to open up what I need to do to be a part of this journey. And we'll see.
You were talking earlier on about personal development, and as I just lean into what sort of questions to ask you next, I'm trying to just sort of tap in a little bit here.
I love it.
I'm really being brought to that theme of personal development. And I wonder if you might talk about how developing as a psychic medium has helped you develop personally and what impact that might have had on your family life.
That's a great question because I remember when I finished expansions and we were doing something and I just said, I feel like this is making me a better mother because I just don't care what people think. It's just made me a different person, you know, not to judge, you know, everybody's gone through horrible childhood. Now, it doesn't reflect on how they should treat people, but I just, you know what, that's the way they are. Okay. I don't take things, you know, as personal. They have their own things that they need to develop, but definitely made me a better mom and also like loosen up a little bit, right? Like just being more open to a lot of things. It's also made my husband a lot more open. It's crazy. He's been more open and like following his, you know, I always joke around and I say, we were witches in our past life. And he just is like, oh God, don't give me that. But I swear to God, I was like, we were witches. We are so in sync. It's crazy. Like, but he's been way more open. He did not look at me funny. He's just been way more open. He actually talks about me to people like if they're open. And I was like, okay, cool. I love this. It's been great for me. And I want to be open to my kids as well as they get older because you don't know if they start getting some experiences. I don't know. I feel like my son has a little bit something and I just want him to be open. I just want to be more open. I'm not as shut off There's things that I notice now, like my mom was very like shut off and didn't talk about a lot of things. And I'm over here like, let's talk about everything. I'm more open for sure. I want my kids to feel safe and that they can talk to me about anything and not be shut off. So yeah, it's been great. That's what I'm saying. It's been a hard journey, but it's been like, wow, very eye-opening.
The marvellous Giselle Zavalza, everybody. In the spirit of today's episode, which is all about development, if you are a developing psychic or a medium and want somewhere to practice, I'm holding a free online space. Sunday and Wednesday Explorers are held the vast majority of Sunday and Wednesdays, details of which can be found in the show notes of this episode. Also, I'm putting together my Halloween episodes. If you have got a spooky or scary tale that you have experienced and you would like to share, please message me. Please reach out to me with your experience before the end of August so I can put it all together, and I would love to feature your story. So if you have anything, do reach out to me on all the socials, the.psychic.explorer. It doesn't have to be scary, it doesn't have to be spooky, but if there's something that you have experienced that you're not quite sure what to make of it, I'd love to hear it. Now, let's get back to the marvellous Giselle Zavalza. In the first half, Giselle, you kept saying this word, and I know what it means, you know what it means, but I wonder if you might be able to explain to the dear listeners, what are these expansions that you keep talking about?
Well, expansion is actually the name of the course that I took. So we have a lecture, we have an exercise, and then we do a mentorship, and then we have a homework. It's a full-on 10-month course, and that's why I say that part of my journey was very tough because I had to be uncomfortable. I had to learn how I thought people saw me or whatever. And we had words every month that we had to work on. And it was a tough one. That was a tough one for me. That's why it's called that, expansions. And then we go into advancing, which they help us work with the public. I can't recommend it enough because it will show you how to deal with certain sitters and this and this and that. And then they pop us into once a month to read to somebody and you're just, sweating, but but it is the best thing for you though. Yeah. You have to do that in order to overcome a lot of things. So that is what expansions is.
The reason I laugh is because that was not the answer I thought you were going to give.
Right, I know.
Because in my mind, expansions are something different. So I was not expecting that answer. So you've educated me. Thank you so much.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Because in my mind, expansions are, this is how my mentor talks to me about it, that when we go on this path, we are going along and we are giving readings in our practice circles, and suddenly it will just stop and something changes. And you think, what has changed? Why am I broken? Why can I not bring these people through anymore? Why has my mediumship changed? And that, normally, that contraction when things sort of close down is a precursor to something opening back up, the expansion. And actually, it normally happens just before your mediumship is about to explode a little bit more and you're able to improve your trust and what you get through. So that's my...
Interesting. Okay. Okay. No, that was it was a course that I took. And so that's why I was talking about expansions, because it's that second half of my journey. That was my tough one. I had to face my grief, personal stuff. There was a lot. It was a lot. And I highly recommend going through that torture.
Now, if there's a tagline, if there is a sale line for that, I highly recommend going through that torture.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not torture, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
You were saying that your husband is totally up for this. What was his perception of this beforehand? Like, you were already open to it, so was he?
You know what? I don't know. It wasn't something we were like, hey, do you believe in the afterlife? And you know what I mean? That was
a conversation you had on date night, no?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember if we ever, I don't know. I just know that the house that we live in right now, he grew up in this house, and it's over 100-year-old home. And he would talk about things that happened in this house. And I'm like, and you want me to move in there? Are you crazy? And so, but I have not had any experiences here in this house, and not yet. But I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm going to, it's not something we talked about until now. He was very open when I started developing. If I talk about it, he'll listen. So that's all I need, right? He might look at me, I'm crazy now, but he's just like, whatever I talk about, or he'll be like, how are your readings? I'm just glad he's open to it, because I've heard partners that are not open to it, and they're just kind of like, you go over there, I'll go over here. But no, he's very open to it. So thank God.
Good. Good. Yeah, that's nice. That makes things more comfortable.
Yeah.
What about your family? I'm wondering if there was tension between you and your sisters, if you were able to feel this from your mum.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Was there any sort of tension with them, or?
I have not felt that. My sisters have gotten signs, and I've had to clarify, like my middle sister, I think she is open as well. And I remember one time she goes, I smelt Mom. I was going in and out of that house. I could smell her. And I'm like, I believe you. You don't have to question it. She just was like, I smelt it. And I'm like, I totally believe you. A lot of them, they'll go, I haven't dreamt about, I'm like, well, I've only had 2 dreams about her. And have I felt her lately? No. She's been coming in through readings, but in the beginning of my development, she did not come through readings. I didn't feel her as strongly. It was the beginning of her passing is where I felt her a lot stronger. Some of them are into it, or not. I don't talk to them about it. Sometimes I'll mention my readings and how cool is this? But not so much. No. Thank God. I feel like I'm very lucky, right? Like, I feel like I'm very lucky to have people around me that are very open, because that could really cause a lot of things. But no, I haven't had any issues yet. I always mention, like, one of my sisters we were all very close to my mom, but my sister was very close to her. They lived together, and I lived with my mom as well, but it was the back and forth, and I haven't had dreams or I haven't had this. But I'm telling you, when our friend came and told us all this stuff, we were just like, oh, she can see everything.
Tell me a bit more about that then. So your friend was able to confirm what was going on in your households, or how did that work? Well,
so it was, I don't know how long ago, but it was pretty much right after my mom passed. We inherited a building from my mom, and there was a tenant there that was a pain in the butt. You start realizing how sweet my mother was, and so for some reason, one of my sister's friends calls her and tells her, like, I don't know if you're going to believe in this, but your mom came to me and she's telling me that she sees you cry every night. And there is this picture that you need to look for in this location. And my sister went and looked, and sure enough, it was a photo of my mom and her wedding. And be just validating that my mom is still here. And then I don't know if it was like a few days later, or if that same moment she calls back again and says, your mom is telling me to look at that same location and look at this drawer. There's a paper that you guys have been looking for. We were going to court because I was trying to evict this person. I'm not mean, but he was saying one thing, and my attorney was like, we're trying to scramble for stuff. We literally found the document that proved that he was wrong. And it was interesting because our friend, we were talking, and she had said, I didn't know how to go to your sister, but your mom kept telling me that I was open. I was definitely open to hearing it. I was, that I had the light. And I was like, what is that? Again, I had not started my development. I didn't have anything. And I don't know what that means, whatever. It's not that I'm special. It was just, I feel like I'm very meant to do this. I feel like I'm called to do it. I just feel that push. But if you feel the same thing, you still have to work for it. It's not going to, again, I'm going to say this, you still have to work for it. There's a lot of unfoldment.
That's a good episode title, I think.
Yeah.
Giselle, you got to work for it.
Yeah, you do.
I think you were about to answer my next question, which I was trying to tune in to whatever's there to just think, what's the next question? And my question is, why do you do this? What is your why?
I feel like it's changed in a way. At first, I was like, how cool. Look at me. I can totally do this. And again, the ego stepped in and I was like, this is so cool. And again, that got checked. And just seeing now, I feel like my why is helping people realize that there is an afterlife. Heaven is all here around us, and our loved ones are close and near. They're just around us in a different way. And we all want to help people heal, right? But we're also getting the healing too when we're doing readings. Like I've done readings where I'm like, is this for me or is this for my sitter? It's been just so magical to help people, right? I don't know exactly what my why is, but I just know that I meant to help people in a way. I'm the one-on-ones, you know about me in demonstration. Everybody knows.
Giselle's not a fan of them. Getting up and doing them, that is.
I'm not a fan getting up and doing them. I have, and maybe my next thing in development, because that's a whole other thing, right? That's a whole other development. But I just love seeing my sitter going, wow, they're still here. Because I've been in that grief, you have all these questions. And I hope to answer those questions to my sitters, to be honest. Giving them a little bit of ease in their grief is pretty much, I feel like that's my why now, is just helping in any way I can, or the spirit world can, you know.
I think so much of what you said tonight will resonate with so many listeners who are out there starting their own journey or on their journey. I wonder if you would share with us some of your stumbles.
Oh, yeah.
Just to let the listeners know that they're not alone when they make their stumbles, when they make their mistakes, because we all go through them. And would you share some of yours?
Yeah. Well, my first one was, not sitting in the power. I mean, when I started my second year, I remember my mentor was like, are you sitting in the power? And I was like, no. And he knew right away with my readings, because again, ego kicked in. I'm like, well, I can do this. I don't need to sit in the power. I've already connected. And right after he said that, I was determined to sit in the power and make it. I was just taking advantage of my alone time. It was my first year of having both kids in school. So I was like, I don't need to sit in the power. So that was my first, I need to sit in the power. And I started going to practice circles, sitting in the power. My grief kicked in when I was doing a reading on someone that also lost their mom. There was a moment where I saw a picture of their mom with their parent, and I saw that same image when I received Reiki, and that made me tearful. How do you tell somebody that they're together and happy when you're grieving?
Yeah.
So I just instantly started crying, and my grief kicked in. And trying to control everything. I couldn't, that's when they were like, nope, you can't, nope, stop. Surrender is one of the biggest words that you're going to hear in mediumship development. And I did not surrender. I wanted to be in the driver's seat. I wanted to control everything. And man, was that a slap in the face. So I want to say those are a few big things. And getting out of my comfort zone. I think that was really hard. I mean, it still is. It still is. But I want to say those are my biggest
hurdles. Yeah. What about times that you look back and you think, oh, God, that was a mistake. I wish I'd never made that. I wish I'd never said that. Or I wish I'd never done that in front of a sitter. Have you ever had those cold sweat moments? You're looking as if like, no, never.
No, I'm trying to think because I don't remember any right now, because, we're in development. We're going to make mistakes. There's so many mistakes. I remember just trying to do everything by the book. I'm like, they're, wanting me to do this and they're wanting me to do that. I remember signing up for Dana's demonstration. And I remember going, I'm just going to do it. And then at the end, I'm like, why did I sign up? Why did I put myself through that torture? And we're going to have those moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've had many of those. but you got to be pushed. You got to be pushed out of your comfort zone. So I can't think of any right now, but like I said, I would be nervous when I had to do them. Again, it's a demonstration in front of other mediums. And I'm like, you want me to read in front of these people? And I'm sure I had many moments, like I said, when he goes, you haven't sat in the power, have you? I'm like, oh man, I just got called. I got called out. He knew right away I had not been sitting in the power. I'm like, well, I do it at night, half asleep. I'm sure when you go out of your comfort zone, I'm sure there's many parts of you going, oh, why did I do that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why did I do that? Yeah, for sure.
What about the realities? What was your expectations of this before stepping into this world versus the actual realities of delivering a message? How do the two contrast?
Well, in my development, I thought this was going to be easy. I thought it was you just take this and bam, you're a medium. And that is so farther from the truth. My God, it is fascinating. It's so fascinating hearing other people's stories, where you're like, it took you 6 years? What? I'm like, no way, that's not going to take me 6 years. It's like, no, everybody's different. So I thought it was easy. I did my first reading, clairvoyantly, and I thought that's how they're going to work with me. I'm just going to say what the pictures are, and I'm just going to say it, and there I am. I'm the clairvoyant medium. Boom. No, I've been hearing things. I see things. I feel things. My knowing is coming in. I thought it was going to be easy. And no, it is not. It is not easy. It's been great. I don't want people to get discouraged either. I don't want people to get discouraged because if you have this calling, the calling is for a reason. There's a reason, whatever that may be. And other things might blossom from this too. And it has for me. So if you want to do this, just know that there's some work and you never know. It might lead you somewhere else that you never expected as well.
Do you think, because this is something that I do, I put so much pressure on myself to be all singing and all dancing. I know that tarot is not my thing. I am much more comfortable with oracle cards or even reading tarot cards as oracle cards. But my brain has not got the capacity to remember 76 or however many cards it is, individual meanings, and then your upside down meanings. My brain does not think that way.
Right. Same.
Good. I'm glad to hear I'm not alone.
No, yeah. There's no way. Yeah.
For me, platform, I actually really enjoy it. For you, it's something that you are not comfortable with just yet. What would you say to someone who is stepping onto their journey and they feel like it's too much? They've got to learn too much, yet they're still intrigued there. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I mean, I would just take one step at a time. Like I said, I was lucky that I was able to move the way I did. I was very fortunate. It was the right timing for me. Now looking back, it was the right timing. I didn't sacrifice a lot of my work on Saturdays and it just worked out. It figured it out. I was going to make excuses. I was like, I work Saturdays, the classes are on Saturdays and my son plays soccer. It just worked out for me. If it was a bit tough, maybe I would have been like, I probably would have plowed through it. I'm stubborn. So I would have just probably figured it out. But I feel like it's okay to step back. It's okay to take your time because I feel like everything, there's always a reason.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. There was a reason why I got the push and I was able to go through it the way that I did. Not everybody can, financially, time-wise. But it's okay to start it, stop. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of mediums out there that have started and stopped and started and stopped. But it's your journey. There's a reason. And just go with it. That's what I say. Yeah. Just go with the flow is my thing.
I 100% echo what you're saying there, Giselle. What's the rush? There's no rush. And we are here to live lives. This comes through in so much of what I talk about. Is that we are here to live lives. And I think it's very easy for us to get caught up in the excitement. You were saying earlier on when you started this, you were so, wow, I can do this. And there was so much ego involved. Mm-hmm. And that resonates with me so much because when I think about it, I think about this as my superpower.
Yeah.
And that's not to put me as like some sort of strange, weird Marvel character. Not at all.
No, yes, I totally understand what you're saying, though.
But my why at the moment, not sure what my why is. I want to help people, but at the same time, I want to see how far it goes. I want to see how far the superpower actually goes. But with that, life happens too. And we are here to live life.
Oh, yeah. And there's times where I'm realizing that now, because there was times where I'm in a practice circle on Wednesdays, and it's an advancing one, pretty, intermediate advance. And she goes in there and tweaks you out and stuff. And my son had something going on, and I never asked him because my husband was going to take him. And something inside of me told me, you should ask him if he wants you to go with him. And I did. I said, do you want me to go? And he goes, yeah, I do. And I was like, oh, it kind of took me back. And then I was like, I'm like, okay, well, I do have something at this time. Let me, let's figure this out. And something inside me said, just go. You've done enough today. And I was also kind of burnt out a little bit because, I have my readings on Tuesdays and then this. And so, and you know what, at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, I'm glad I went. I'm glad I went. So I'm learning that now too. But this also gives me I feel like there's like my purpose. It gives me center. It gets me centered, right? Like sitting in the power is not a chore for me. It just kind of gets me centered, either starting the day or ending the day or the middle of the day of just, I call it the kumbaya before I pick up my kids.
The calm before the storm.
Yeah, it just is like, it does really help me. And I love it, and I'm going to take advantage of it. And when it's not, it's not. I've put in the work. I still need a lot, I still need a lot. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm done. But no, it's like I've put in the work where if I only sit in the power once a week, it's okay. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The world won't stop.
Correct. And they're still here. I can still connect with the spirit world, but I still have to continue to do it, right?
Thank you so much for tonight, Giselle. I've enjoyed talking to you so much. It's been so nice to actually hear your story. And I think, I hope what comes through, what I am picking up on this is your enthusiasm for this as well. You are so enthusiastic about doing this well.
Correct.
I was going to use the word properly, but I don't think there is a properly. There is no one way of doing this.
Yeah.
But to do it well is so important.
Yeah.
Before we love you and leave you, do you have anything to say to the listeners or anything you want to add? Anything we've not covered that you wanted to?
I do want to say, take your time on this journey. I'm sure you hear this from your mentors, like don't compare yourself. We all go up and down. They tell us this all the time, not to compare and not to do this. And it's just enjoy the journey, enjoy the people that you meet, because that was another hard thing too, is like I felt very alone. I felt very alone in my first, and I remember my mentors were like, get to know people, connect with people. And I didn't. I was very shut off. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to anyone. Oh my gosh. And now I love this part of my journey because I've been a lot closer to people that I've worked with, and do that. Please do that. Don't ignore like I did. Like if you know somebody that's in the journey with you, connect with them, be friends with them, and just take your time and, know that this is a journey, and listen to your mentors when they say you're not done, and don't go out there being a professional, and because it just makes us look bad, right? The ones that are trying to really make sure that, that we're not those people. And we see that now, and, people talk about it. And as a developing medium, I feel like I can talk about it because of our mentors, and they are professional. People are thinking, oh, well, they're being, haters on them. It's like, no, they've gone through that journey. They know, they've seen it. They know where you're at. They can call you out real quick. They'll know exactly what part of your journey is by watching you read. So honor that, honor the spirit world. If you want to be an actor, go to acting school. You know what I mean? If you want to perform and be on a show, go do that, be an actor. But don't take advantage of the sacredness of the spirit world by showing off, basically, is what I feel like people are doing. Like, that's my thing.
Love it. Where can people find you?
My Instagram is Scorpio Healer. And my TikTok, I believe it's under my name, which is Giselle JZ. If not, it would be Scorpio Healer.
Are you taking readings? Are your books open?
So I am a student through Oakbridge Institute. So in August, I will open up my books again and I will continue to read till about December. So that's where they can get a reading from me at the moment. Yes.
I will put all of your socials and all of your links in the show notes. Giselle, thank you so much for tonight. Like I said, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I love it.
So there we have it. Development is not a straight line. It goes left, it goes right, it goes up, it goes down. And just once more, I just want to extend my thanks and appreciation to Giselle. We have so many conversations about psychic work, about mediumship, and I really felt that that conversation was exactly what I needed to hear for where I am in my development right now. A reminder that things can go quiet, a reminder that it's not just going to come to me. I need to sit, I need to be quiet, I need to practice. And at the same time, life is lifey. Life is here to be lived. So without overdoing it, again, just thank you, Giselle, for coming on to the Psychic Explorer. I hope you, dear listener, you, dear explorer, found something in what Giselle was saying there, which resonated with you, which helped with wherever you are in your path at the moment, and maybe something to reflect back on in the future. That's why I love podcasts, because you can go back and listen to something. You can listen to something you heard 6 months, a year ago, and it has a different meaning. It has a different feel. It has a different resonance because you have moved on. You have developed. I'm not going to egg this one. I'm not going to try and over-egg the analogy or anything like that. But just know, dear listeners, that you are always in my hearts. Whenever I have a message from anyone, like I said before, I'm not setting the world on fire. And excuse the pun on that one, because things are very hot this year. There are lots and lots of wildfires all over the place. But I am not setting the world on fire with this podcast. However, I seem to be reaching people that need to be reached. And when those people reach out to me, it honestly fills my heart. So thank you. Know that those of you who have reached out to me, you give me the confidence, you give me the motivation to continue to keep putting out episodes of the Psychic Explorer. I apologise. Previous episodes, this month in particular, have been not quite according to schedule, but hey, like I say, life can be lifey. Until the next time, beautiful people, I will see you then. Take care, guys. Bye.